Christmas break. And it's a story of a lot of change. It also tells you you should never get too comfortable about your surroundings. It started on the night of December 18th. I'm sitting at home. I just got home from playing b-ball. I did pretty well. I hit a couple. I was kind of hot that night, but I came home feeling good. And I just turned my favorite show on the TV, made my favorite meal, finally sit down, and all of a sudden my dad comes storming in the room. He's angry, at least it seems like. He seems angry about something, so I asked him. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I called your job, or where I thought you were working at the time, and I had to quit because of conflicts with music schedule, so I pretty much just couldn't work at the time, and I had to quit during the end of the semester." And he told me that beforehand, he's like, "You should never be without a job. You're 19, you should never be without a job." And we get into this big argument, and the last thing that's said is he told me to get out. Now, I'm 19, I don't have my bags packed. I just unpacked because I just got home. I don't know what to do. So I spent at least about 10 minutes frantically calling everyone in my family, all of my friends, anybody that I think could give me a ride somewhere. And the one person that called me was ironic because it wasn't a good idea to call her in the first place because she's in Atlanta. I called her first, and she was my mom. This was kind of difficult for me to do because me and my mom never had the greatest relationship. Her and my dad got divorced when I was about 7 years old, so from then on, she wasn't really there in my life. So it was hard for me to make that call. I made it anyway. I just needed a place to stay. She called me back, asked me what happened. I explained everything to her. She was like, "Okay, I got a lot of connections in South Bend. I'll have somebody there for you in 5 minutes." Turns out she did. She was a woman of her word. She had somebody there in 5 minutes, so I'm going with her friend who I actually knew as a child also. And I stayed at her friend's house for about an hour, and then she had another friend that could help me a lot more. He came and picked me up, took me to his house in Michigan. So at that point, I'm emotionally torn apart. I have to leave home. The home that I left, I've stayed at for 19 years. That's the only place I knew. I didn't know where I was at when I went to Michigan, but I had to kind of deal with it, and I had to focus on where am I going to stay because I can't stay here forever. And my mom immediately called me when I got there that night and said, "We're going to get you a plane ticket to Atlanta as soon as we possibly can." Now, everybody that's our age knows if you're trying to get a plane ticket somewhere, the worst time to do it is the holiday season. So tickets are really expensive. I had just got my last paycheck from that job, so I spent all the money I had just to get down there. So I go down there, and I'm wrestling with some demons because I realize I have not been with her for the longest time. This is going to be weird. My only experiences with her was times when she came up to Indiana when she had to sing at a church or something. We haven't spent a lot of time together. And when I got to the airport in Atlanta, I got my bags. I saw her there, and I was emotionally drained, but I still was trying to be, I still was emotional when I saw her in the airport. I went, gave her a hug. It's the first time I saw her in about the past year. And over the next 2 weeks for Christmas break, I was finally able to spend time with my mom, relax, and I finally, even though everything changed in my life and I didn't think I had a home, I had gained another one in Georgia, which is why I'm now living down there. And the moral of the story is, yes, don't ever get too comfortable where you're at. Change can happen at any point, and even if you're not ready for it, just know sometimes it's a good thing. It's not always a bad thing.